Hey guys, thanks for checking out Quick Sessions Podcast. My name is Garrett Terrio, and today I don't really have a subject matter or an article I read or anything like that. Nothing specific pertaining to fitness, but just a couple kind of things I wanted to go on about. Not really a rant, just a discussion of things I observed and things I noticed from over the weekend. And it kind of all started with two things. First thing I did is something that I haven't done in 4 years, and I'm 31 years old, so something I haven't done in 4 years sounds ridiculous, and it's kind of a reality check, but it's not a big deal, right? It's just yoga. Yoga is something I did. I haven't done it in 4 years, and I had the inkling Friday to go and do some yoga. Went to this place called Black Swan. They're all over, but the one I went to is in the Heights. If you're familiar with Houston, you know where that is. Instructor's name was Candace, I believe. Did a fine job, and I went through it a little rusty, but still was able to take care of it, no problem. Did the class, tons of sweat. But I was going over their website when I was leaving just to see what they're kind of all about. And I noticed they have a bunch of other services, right? They have podcasts, they have other galleries, links to their other locations. But one thing I noticed they had was on-demand yoga. And I saw that and I thought, oh, of course, that makes sense. Why not have on-demand yoga? I think it's something like $8 a month or whatever it was. I thought that's a great idea. I should get it for my wife, Sarah. So a little backstory on why I haven't gone in 4 years. Once Sarah was pregnant with our first child, Bo, we couldn't go to these hot yoga studios, and most of them are hot. There are a couple around the city that aren't, but because of overheating and all that with the baby, you can't go to hot yoga when you're pregnant. So she is the certified yoga instructor, the yogi that's keeping up with it and doing regular routines, classes, what have you. So I kind of followed suit and fell off of the yoga train, which is too bad because I really do like it, and I think it's very beneficial for anybody that lifts weights, really especially for people that lift weights, because flexibility is always a concern, and with less flexibility, the less force you'll eventually be able to generate. That's just the way it works. Now, doing yoga is not going to automatically make your bench press go up or anything like that, but just there's so many things that get tight and inflexible as you get older, as you move primarily to the weightlifting style of working out. When your routine is mostly weights, you're going to get tight, especially in the hips. The hips is the biggest one. So if you're a recreational golfer or something like that, yoga is the first extracurricular thing I would advise after weights and cardio. Just, if anything, just keep your hips loose. So anyway, I'm looking at this whole thing. I see the subscription for the on-demand yoga. I said, well, that's great. Why don't I just get that? And my wife and I can do yoga at home. And I thought, oh, that's genius, but it makes perfect sense. Well, this morning during my workout, I'm reading this article about Philip Mills. And for those that don't know him, he is a big deal in the fitness industry. Les Mills, you've probably seen that on merchandise. I think he partners with Reebok, maybe. He's a very big deal in the fitness industry. Machines, gyms, all that stuff. In, I believe it's New Zealand, but in America we have plenty of that stuff. And most of his gyms and all that are in New Zealand. Well, they have Les Mills on demand. So, okay, like that's the second on-demand thing. It's just kind of catching my attention. The next article is another article about a gym who's gone for on-demand stuff. And it kind of clicked of how much these at-home on-demand things are increasing. Now, I work in a gym, so things like Daily Burn that have, I think I read 2.5 million subscribers. I'm not used to using stuff like that. I've never been an at-home person to work out. And I have a treadmill and a weight set, and I'll go up there periodically and get a workout in if it's raining or if I'm watching my child or whatever, late at night. But with Daily Burn, that's the app you can use to get a workout in on your own. And then things like Peloton, which everybody's kind of familiar with, the bike, which they now have a treadmill out with interactive classes. And that's something like, without the cost of the bike, it's you have a subscription service. And that has 600,000 subscribers. And while this isn't rocket science or some great observation, just seeing kind of the direction the fitness industry is going with these on-demand classes and routines and really personal training. The Mirror is one that's popular out right now. It's big in Europe. It's here in America, but I believe it originated in the UK. That's another one where it's pretty much a personal trainer at home. And it's cool. Obviously, it's not the full service you would get at a training studio, but it is something that I kind of see gyms starting to add on as a feature, these subscription-based services for people that can't get to the gym or they're on vacation or something like that. The vacation thing is the first thing that came to mind for me because it's the summer. People take month-long vacations or they summer in Maine or something like that. So that was kind of the first observation. Nothing groundbreaking, but something I noticed. And then the second thing that happened this weekend is I watched this documentary. It's called Iron Cowboy. You may have seen it. It's on the front page of Netflix. So anytime you log in, you'll take a look at it. And what it is, in a nutshell, if you haven't seen it, is this guy, James Lawrence, I think his name is. Anyway, he wants to do 50 Ironman? 50 Ironman? Not sure how you would say that. 50 Ironmen in 50 days in all 50 states. And he says he's raising money for childhood obesity, which is great. But from what I'm reading and all that, I think he just wanted to do this athletic feat. And then with sponsors and all that, they decided, hey, why don't we make it a charity thing? Great. Why not? This seems like the thing that would be great for raising money for something like childhood obesity. I'm watching. It's pretty incredible. This guy is doing something that I've never ran a marathon or did 112 miles on a bike or swam. I don't think I've ever swam a mile at one time, but 2.4 miles on top of that. So an Ironman is something I definitely respect, but it's just something I've never done. So I can't imagine doing 50 of those with no rest days in between. Now, the guy's in great shape, obviously. He had trainers who worked with him, and he's already done some similar events. I think he did something like 30 half Ironman in 30 days, something like that. Well, anyway, here he goes. He's ready to kill himself for 50 days. It's just absolutely insane. He's, first day, fine. Second day, okay, it's getting tougher and tougher as it does. And this documentary goes through this whole journey. He's in an RV, driving around. It has his times, how much sleep he's getting, how many calories he's eating. I think he ended up, during the actual running, biking, swimming of the Ironman, consuming something like 8,500 calories a day, between the swim and the bike, 2,000 calories and maybe another 2,000 after that. And they didn't get to his diet too much, but it was, something I read about later. So I think this is great. This guy's trying this great feat. There's some charity involved. That's fine. Well, here's one thing that happened. He had kind of a hiccup. So the first thing he did, he was biking and he fell asleep, crashed, busted his hip up. So on day 18, I think. Well, after that, there's also like a hurricane in Texas and Louisiana. He's at that part of the map, and he has to go inside to do these Ironmen. So he's in there biking, swimming, because these aren't like sanctioned events. This is just, I'm going to do 3 events, all the distances of an Ironman each day. So he gets to the point where he has to go inside, and his hip is so jacked up. His trainer recommends he does the marathon on an elliptical. And so obviously it's a lot longer. It's like I think he had to spend 6 hours on the elliptical, which if you ever try to do a lot of elliptical work, it gets old real quick. Just like a treadmill, just like any piece of cardio equipment inside. But what was so annoying to me, because I know what you're thinking, a marathon on an elliptical is not a marathon. Yes, I hear you. In a vacuum, you're right. A marathon on an elliptical is not a marathon. It is a elliptical marathon, I guess we'll call it. It's doing 26.2 miles on an elliptical. Well, these, you can call them purists. I call them the workout professionals. And what I mean by that are the people that are just negative. They have to be the ones to come out and say, well, as far as I'm concerned, you're not doing 50 Ironmen in 50 days. You're doing 49 Ironmen in 50 days or 48, whatever it ended up being. I don't remember how many days he did the elliptical. I think it was just one day. All these people just came out and they're so negative about it. And, I get it. It's not a true Ironman, but it's funny to have that negativity and that beef with, oh, he did it on the elliptical because of his hip. It's like, man, the dude's doing 50 Ironmen in 50 days. These people commenting, I wonder if they've even done 1 or 2 in a week or something like that. And it's just the most garbage, I'm saying outrage. Obviously not that many people were even paying attention to this as it was happening, but the people on social media and all that were just giving him so much crap. And I know these type of people. I've seen them. I've worked with them. They're just so nauseating. This guy's killing himself for 50 days. And all you can say is, oh, well, as far as I'm concerned, you didn't do it. He came pretty damn close. And let's see anybody else do 26 miles on an elliptical. And I feel like to say something like that is just it's so lame. And it's such a just awful way to conduct yourself as far as fitness is concerned. And that's why I call them the professional worker-outers, right? This isn't the World Series this guy's in. He's just doing an athletic feat. It's for charity. He's going for some kind of record. So, okay, Guinness won't give him 50 in 50 days. They'll give him 49 in 50 days. So what? You know what I mean? But he's trying to make a documentary. He's trying to do something that no one's really ever done before. I do think I just heard about this guy inspiring some lady to do it also, which I think she'll be getting started pretty soon. We'll see how it goes. I would never dream of even trying to do a marathon every day for 50. And that's just me. I'm not a huge runner. I'm sure there's plenty of great runners out there who would say they can do it or can do it, and that's fine. But for anybody to just be so up this guy's you know what about using the elliptical one day because of an injury, it's like, man, you're a loser. You need to find something. When someone brings that up, immediately I just assume, okay, you weren't good at anything in your life and you've taken up Ironman and you want to be some kind of purist because that's all you have, right? Like anyone who's actually ever been good at sports or actually was one of the faster kids in class or the strongest guys on the team, none of those people are saying that about this guy. They appreciate what this guy's trying to do, how hard it was. And I know I'm kind of ranting a little bit, but I know too many people like the people that would criticize this guy because one day he used an elliptical instead of a treadmill or running outside because of this hurricane. And I mean, I'll be honest, physically, I'm sure the elliptical is easier, but I would much rather just go outside and run a marathon than do an elliptical for 6 hours. I mean, none of that sounds appealing to me. But anyway, that's a couple things that happened this weekend. I just noticed, so I wanted to hop on the podcast and talk about something different, not just a regular educational deal. I hope this gave you some information. I guess you don't really need to watch the documentary anymore, but it is good. Iron Cowboys is the name of it. It's an hour and 15 minutes. Doesn't take long. So I thought it was solid. I thought it was interesting, especially for someone who's not an Ironman doer. All right, guys. Thanks for checking it out. See you next time.